and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time on a fancy water bottle with ultra titanium alloy metal. You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water. But you're getting it anyway. Because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
My pain is considerable, but that prescription is dangerous. The side effects of my medicine are worse than my condition.
I'm in recovery. I can't take those pills.
When faced with a health crisis, you shouldn't have to choose between risks.
At the Naturopathic Physicians Group in Scottsdale, our medical doctors are experts in full spectrum care using a natural approach. Patients come in for a variety of issues, including joint pain, chronic conditions, and issues specific to men's and women's health. Our naturopathic doctors can restore pain-free joint function and restore balance in immune, digestive, and hormone systems, which often improves immediate physical symptoms without having you take a bunch of pills. If traditional medicines aren't working, don't you think it's time to start feeling like yourself again? Call Naturopathic Physicians Group at 480-451-6161. That's 480-451-6161. Or go to naturopathicgroup.com.
Did you know that daily multivitamins boost your health on the inside and the outside? It's true. Multivitamins with folic acid boost energy levels, improve your mood, and promote overall wellness. And if you decide to have a baby, they can help prevent birth defects in a pregnancy. That's why the Arizona Department of Health Services is offering a free 3-month supply of multivitamins. Visit azdzs.gov/PowerMe-A2C for free vitamins.
Sponsored by the Arizona Department of Health Services.
KQFN Tempe. Also transmitting on K257CD Phoenix at 99.3 FM and K240 EU Mountain Hills at 95.9 FM. Wherever you go, take us along. Listen to our live stream on our free Fanatic app. Download it today.
Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Beat the Book right here on 1580 The Fanatic, broadcasting live from the Harmon Solar Studios in sunny uptown Scottsdale. And today on the show, we're going to give you a recap of last night. Beat the Book. We go 6-4. Dylan's going to talk about what we hit, what we missed, and then we'll get into some of those games and the details of it. Segment 2, we're going to give you a rundown of Jimmy Butler's shenanigans. They're happening. And I don't think you're going to want to miss it because this thing continues to escalate. It's one of the biggest moving stories in the NBA right now. Everybody that covers it is they've never seen anything like it. Let's put it that way. We'll talk about that as well. And how does this help the Suns? We'll also talk a little bit of Mercury because we bet WNBA on this show. In this house, we bet WNBA. And then third segment of the show, the long shot parlay. We go big game hunting, trying to make you some money. And the opportunities are out there. You're on the text line, 888-368-1580. Teams, bets. How did they do? We want to know. But before we get to any and all of those things, Dylan, who powers the show?
That would be Sportrade. And if you have not already, make sure you search Sportrade on your smartphone, get the app downloaded, and use promo code 1580 to take advantage of their 10% cash back promotion. And as well as Sportrade, we are powered by Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the first bank account that is designed specifically for any casino, daily fantasy site, and sportsbook transactions. So anytime you make a deposit out of your Edge Boost bank account to a sportsbook, a casino, daily fantasy site, you are going to earn up to 0.5% cash back. This is the only bank account out there that does this kind of a thing. This is an FDIC-insured bank account. This was created in partnership with Visa. It is totally legit. I've been using it for months. I am really excited at this cash back I'm looking at getting next month. This has definitely been a better month for the bets, which has been awesome. So just stop leaving money on the table. Visit edgeboost.bet, sign up, get that account going so that way you can start earning cash back on all the betting that you're doing anyway. That is the best part about Edge Boost. So With that being said, we did pretty good on those Beat the Book picks yesterday. We do have a Beat the Book website where Monday through Friday we are posting bets to make, as well as a long shot parlay. There are 10 individual bets. You can take them straight up. You can make parlays out of them, whatever you prefer. And then in addition to that, at the very bottom of the post, that is where we take a stab at trying to get a pretty big prize. The long shot parlay for today does pay out over 100 to 1 if we win it. We're going to get more into that in segment 3. But for now, if you're looking to try and tail some of these Beat the Book bets for today, you can search Beat the Book Fanatic in your browser. You can search Beat the Book Dylan Cohen. Either one of those things should pull it up. You can also follow the Beat the Book Instagram account. The tag is at Beat the Book Fanatic, all spelled out. And if you hit the link in the bio on the Instagram profile, that'll take you right to the Beat the Book website. You can see what those bets are. You can follow them. You can fade them. You can send us a text, 888-368-1580. Let us know what you think. But let's get down to business here, because as Keon mentioned, yesterday was a pretty good betting day. We went 6-4 on the 10 bets. The long shot parlay did not manage to hit, but we're taking another stab at that today. The top 2 picks from Beat the Book yesterday, those were a couple of spreads within the NBA. We needed the Dallas Mavericks to cover their spread against the Washington Wizards. We needed the Milwaukee Bucks to cover their spread against the Utah Jazz. Both of those games were massive blowouts. Mavericks win, Bucks win, very easy covers. I wish every single day the top 2 picks were as easy as that. That was, no sweat whatsoever. So make sure you check out the top 2 picks for today. We are counting on our very own Arizona State Sun Devils. They are on the road. This is men's college basketball taking on Colorado Buffaloes. They are 3.5-point underdogs. And this is a team that they've already managed to beat by a pretty hefty margin earlier this season. So this is a great play to back ASU as an underdog. Tremendous value there. The second pick from Beat the Book that is in our top 2 is for the LA Lakers to win on the money line. They are taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. The 76ers are among the most injured teams in the NBA right now. They will be without Joel Embiid, Paul George, Andre Drummond, and a number of other guys. So the Lakers are in a great spot to be able to pick up another win, take them on the money line. Now, when you look at the games that actually happened yesterday, there were 2 games that really stood out to me. We were talking a bit about these before we went on, Keon. Within the NBA, the Houston Rockets played the Boston Celtics yesterday. I do not understand why this was not elevated to, a national TV platform. The NBA did have games airing on NBA TV yesterday. It wasn't a TNT day. It wasn't an ESPN day. They could have given this game a bigger stage. Why they chose not to do that, maybe they just don't want to make a spectacle out of Ime Udoka coming back to Boston. That was one of the kind of hairier
That's true,
things that ever happened in the league.
It's one of those things where something wrong happened there, but nobody talks about it. No one gets into specifics, the details of which were never really released. And so this could be a fun, quote unquote, revenge game, except for the fun factor might not exist if in fact Ime did something not morally upstanding. Let's say that.
Frowned upon.
Yeah. That's a nice way. Yeah.
Now, when it actually comes to this game itself, this was, in my opinion, this was the absolute best game within the NBA last night. The Rockets are among the top teams in the Western Conference right now. They are absolutely a shoo-in to make the playoffs. Meanwhile, you've got the Boston Celtics, defending champs. A top 3 team in the East, no doubt. So to see 2 very quality teams clash like this, it was just a lot of fun. And the game was fairly close the entire way, multiple lead changes. But you've got a guy in Dylan Brooks on the Houston Rockets who is pretty universally looked at as one of the villains in the NBA. Had his stint with the Memphis Grizzlies, had his little tiff with LeBron James. Brings his game over to Houston, still brings that kind of intensity and that aggressiveness, mainly more of a defensive player. But Dylan Brooks does have the ability to shoot the 3-point or shoot from the 3-point line. And yesterday he had his best 3-point shooting game of his career. He made 10 3-pointers on the way to 36 points. And Dylan Brooks, without this performance, they don't win this game. But the actual MVP of this game for the Houston Rockets, it was Amen Thompson. And if you recall, we were counting on Amen Thompson in the long shot parlay. We were hoping that he could get up to 6 assists. He ended up finishing with 4. It's really not by any fault of Amen Thompson's part. I mean, he was making the passes. He was distributing the ball. You know, his other teammates were not following through and making the shots. That's honestly the reason why that part of the long shot parlay didn't hit. But what Amen Thompson did do last night was he was extremely efficient from the field. He made 13 out of 19 shots, scored a career high 33 points, and he also had a nice buzzer beater jump shot to win the game for the Houston Rockets. The final score there, 114 to 112. Rockets come away with a big win. Ime Udoka was all smiles after the fact. They were really talking about in the post game just, you know, how much clearly this win meant to Ime Udoka, and you saw each of the Rockets players just identify that and want to rally for their coach. This is absolutely one of the scarier kind of dark horse teams in the NBA to me right now.
Yeah, like they are the dark horse version of the Thunder in a lot of ways, where they're just they're young, but it's not a scrappiness to them. They just are good. They just are that good and kind of figuring stuff out. And I think that like that team, if they make a run in the playoffs, like I'm just not shocked to learn that would happen.
And a big part of this is just this emergence right now from Amen Thompson. If you recall, this guy, he was the 4th pick in the draft in 2023. That was the year that Wemby went number 1. Brandon Miller, number 2, very deserving 1 and 2s. Then you have Scoot Henderson went number 3. All 3 of these guys in other draft classes could have been, you know, runaway number 1 picks.
Like all of them, if you put them in last year's draft, are absolutely number 1.
And there's a number of other draft classes where you could go back and you could be like, oh my God, like all 3 of these guys, they're way better. Amen Thompson, he's just as good. He is absolutely as advertised. You know, him and his twin brother, Asar, they both played in the Overtime Elite League, which, you know, one of the more kind of niche ways to take the pathway to the NBA. And they showed that it was a completely viable route to go. You know, they were able to make 6-figure salaries as 16-year-olds, you know, going this route. And then they also got access to elite resources. They refined their games. It seems to be, you know, in the same neighborhood of quality as going through a college program or perhaps going overseas or to Australia, you know, or some of these other routes that we've seen other guys take over the years. Amen Thompson is someone to keep an eye on. He has just been scoring at a furious pace recently. It really looks like he is starting to just emerge and bring his game to the next level. This is someone that we could be talking about as like a superstar, you know, maybe a few years from now. I honestly see this guy as potentially on like a similar trajectory as like a Devin Booker, where maybe it's going to take him kind of that first 5-6 years to like really kind of break into that all-star kind of category. But when he does, it's not going to be just as an all-star. He's going to ascend very, very fast. This guy is the future of the NBA. If you're not watching him now, you need to start watching him. Amen Thompson on the Houston Rockets. Let's talk about the other big game that happened yesterday, because I want to give this one some credit. This was pretty spectacular. Yesterday, my U of A Wildcats, men's college basketball, that is the team that I root for personally within college basketball. I did go to U of A. I did go to ASU. I went to both schools. I have the right to choose. I have like always longer for, even when I was a kid, I was always a U of A basketball fan, and there's no way that I will ever lean the other way when it comes to basketball. And I'll take all the crap in the world, because when it comes to football, I don't cheer for that U of A football team ever. I've always been an ASU guy. I get to pick and choose the best part.
You get to pick and choose. You get a little bit of both. By the way, Bullseye on the text line, we're about to answer your question. He's asking about, did we predict the outcome of that game yesterday
for U of A
that you are talking about right now? Yes.
So here's the truth. Anytime U of A is in a spot where I don't like the line, or I really just don't think that they're going to be able to get a win, I just stay away from it, because I don't want to sit here and tell the world like oh, my team's going to lose like that. I'd rather just stay away from it altogether. And yesterday on the show, granted, there was some breaking Jimmy Butler news that came in that also took up a lot of time. We didn't get around to being able to talk about this game yesterday. And I intentionally left it off of the Beat the Book site because I had concerns. I did not think U of A could win that game yesterday. Iowa State is a tremendous team, number 3 in the country, on the road, playing at McKale Center, one of the most difficult venues in all of college basketball to go to and get a win on the road. And for much of that game last night, I was validated. Iowa State, scrappy team. U of A also played tremendously. I mean, it was competitive through and through. U of A held a lead for most of that game. Iowa State really fired back second half. They started to come away with a bit of a lead in the final few minutes. And all of a sudden, this game is down to about 2 seconds on the clock. Iowa State is up 3 points. Personally, I had a wager on Iowa State money line because I just could not believe that they were priced as an underdog on the money line. To be able to get them over even money, that was great value to me. I'll take it. I'm just not going to tell the world that I'm betting against my team. So I'm watching this game. It's late, and 2 seconds left. U of A inbounds the ball. They didn't have any ability to advance it, so they're on the opposite side of the court. Caleb Love grabs the inbounds pass, throws up a prayer. I mean, this was like 3/4 of the court, well beyond the half court line. This thing swishes. And now all of a sudden, what looked like a pretty sure thing Iowa State win, completely thrust into just huge uncertainty. We're going to overtime. I'm staring at my bet. It's offering me a cash out where I can just break even. And I was like, get me out of this. No. I cashed out. Because at that point, it's like, look, if Caleb Love is hitting shots like this, Iowa State's not winning this game. And in overtime, Caleb Love just kept hitting 3-pointers where he was cold like most of the game all the way up until that point. It was just like a switch got flipped. He just cannot miss. U of A just goes on a run in overtime. They end up winning by 11 points. Final score 86-75. And if you've been following these Wildcats throughout the season, it's been a really bizarre year. We didn't have the kind of success towards the beginning of the season. We really were not good in the battle for Atlantis, all the non-conference slate. It just was very lackluster. And then once we got into the Big 12 regular season games, that's where U of A has really started to emerge. So after that win last night, the Wildcats are now 8-1 in the conference. The only team that's ahead of them is Houston, and they've got a showdown on the schedule against Houston that's going to take place at the McKale Center. I believe that game is next month. So
wow, yeah,
that is going to be a showdown. That is the top 2 teams in the Big 12 going at it. I am extremely excited for that one. And look, after U of A lost to Duke, towards the beginning of the year at home, I mean, that really made me question, can we really take care of business at home? Like U of A used to be such a bigger brand name when it came to just defending the house and never losing games in McKale. Like that was something that Sean Miller really took to heart with his teams. And even in their down years, I mean, you were hard pressed to see them lose a home game. Tommy Lloyd, he has been fantastic. He has been able to, take over the program in lieu of kind of how Sean Miller went out, keep things afloat, keep the recruiting elite, keep the program elite. So it's been awesome to see the way things have turned around for the Wildcats. This win against Iowa State, this could make the difference between them not getting an at-large bid and getting an at-large bid to make it into March Madness. So, hopefully they're able to play their way into a position where they don't need to depend on that. But, if that's ultimately what it's going to take, they've got a very high quality win, on their resume now that could go a long way for them, once we get around to March.
Yeah, when they start doing all of the looking at the schedule, look, you're playing in the Big 12, that gives you a boost just regardless. You do have to win those games, but this is one. And if you can win a few more of this level in this conference, I think you get a bump. Bullseye says, isn't that what you'd call a bad beat when Caleb Love makes a shot like that?
Well, if I would have stuck with the Iowa State bet and lost it, then yeah.
Yeah. So Dylan was able to cash out. If your sports book did not allow you to do that, I am so sorry.
Well, and that's where it's like, look, it was kind of the best of both worlds. I didn't lose any money and my team actually got the win. And, now I'm probably going to think about them a little differently the next time they come into, a big matchup against a pretty highly ranked team at home.
Baker's Cocky Hens on the text line says, I grabbed Amen Thompson 4 assists live and parlayed it with Scotty Barnes 10 rebounds and 8 assists. Cashed a nice plus 300. I also parlayed Thompson to score 30 and Celtics to win. I forgot Ime had this as personal. The Rockets do seem less concerned with strip clubs and harassment suits than most teams. So, Ime grew, I guess. He also says, also I had Iowa State money line with under 145. Caleb Love, you bastard.
Oh,
so yeah,
that's brutal.
A bad beat for Baker's Cocky Hens bullseye. See, that is how
2 of them though, because that Celtics money line that also lost on Amen Thompson making
That's
like
right.
a literal buzzer beater.
So,
to win.
Baker's Cocky Hens.
Yeah.
This is the way that you lose things is hurtful, and I don't know. I don't like my heart wouldn't be able to handle any of that. Jazz says, "Hey, how do you guys feel about novelty bets?"
When you say novelty bets,
Yeah.
like unpack that a little bit more. Are you talking about markets outside of sports? Because that actually is there's one area there. I've mentioned this to Keon. I wasn't going to bring this up for maybe about another month or so, but for example, there is this very popular awards show that is going to air in March, and it's for movies. It's called the Academy Awards. And believe it or not, there is a betting market on the Academy Awards right now. You can place wagers on that through DraftKings. And, to kind of switch things up, I definitely, was thinking about maybe trying to throw out a pick for the Academy Awards. So if you consider that like a novelty bet, then yeah, there could be something there for you. If you meant something else, let us know.
Yeah, and please explain. Baker's Cocky Hen says, I also lost the Visa contest. They picked someone else, but gave me 3 years of Visa Pro for free. So that was pretty cool of them. Yeah, it's pretty awesome, man. And look, congratulations on the run, because you had a hell of a
That was
of a
just
run
crazy
through.
how far you made it there. Yeah.
Yeah, very impressed. Latina Leprechaun says, hey, Keon and Dylan, I'm not that much into sports gambling, but I was wondering if I should dip my toe into some of the Super Bowl prop bets that are emerging.
Well, first off, you can always sign up for Sport Trade and take advantage of the 10% cashback promotion. Make sure you use promo code 1580 for that. For live betting the Super Bowl, that's going to be probably the absolute best app to leverage for that. And then in terms of maybe doing some more kind of creative stuff on the Super Bowl, the one thing that is nice if you've never kind of jumped into all of this stuff before is all of these sports books are getting so aggressive with these first time promotions. And when the sports books first became legalized in Arizona, some of those offers, like I haven't seen anything kind of near that come back around, because these places outside of the free bets, they were offering Uber Eats credits. They were offering like official jerseys, tickets to different events. Like they were really going over the top with, the budget of marketing and trying to acquire new customers. Now that's all dropped off a little bit, but there's still some very, very aggressive first-time promotions. And I'll be completely straightforward. I actually helped a family friend over the weekend sign up for FanDuel, and I had them use my referral code. And FanDuel, like legitimately right now, I cannot believe this, they are offering $300 in free bets. But the caveat is you have to win your first wager on the app. But, and this is the thing, no one reads into the fine print on this, and this is like unbelievable. That first wager that you make, it can literally be anything. There's no restriction on the pricing, the odds. A lot of the times they're going to say you can't bet on something with longer odds than like minus 500. So my family friend that I helped this out with, I literally made the bet for him. And we did a live over on the Eagles and Commanders. This was like right before halftime. And we purposefully took an over that paid like minus 5,000, because the whole point was just to ensure that you get the free bets. I mean, you're going to get your wager back if you win it anyway.
Yeah.
So his bet was like $10 to win 2 cents. So it was $10 to return $10.02. He hit it very easily. He then got his money back and he got the 300 credit.
Wow.
So it was like, wow, okay. How many people are rushing into this, not realizing that you can literally just bet on anything, and they're going, oh, I want this team to win.
Yeah. And it's like not even bad odds, but you could literally make yourself have the best odds imaginable. Yeah, wow, just leaving money on the table there. I didn't even realize that. So, Latina Leprechaun, I don't know if that answers your question at all, but Super Bowl prop bets, is that something that is that a good way to get into it, Dylan?
It's a fun way. And you know, something that does make the Super Bowl fun, but again, this is a market where like you should not be putting large sums of money on this. For the AFC Championship game, I threw $5 on Kareem Hunt to score the first touchdown. Got it at 12-1. He hit the first touchdown, but like it made those first, you know, couple of downs because the Bills received first, and then the Chiefs had to take over. Like those first 2 downs, like those were extremely exciting. That's actually one of my favorite, just for fun, kind of prop bets to do. We will have more props to give out on this program once we get a lot closer to the Super Bowl. But we did talk about yesterday, if you're really antsy to kind of bet on something right now, Saquon Barkley for 2 rushing touchdowns. Completely reasonable, paying about 3-1. It seems to be automatic for him at this point to just, you know, take a rushing play and, you know, just go the full distance with it. And the way that each conference has been able to score in their most recent games, it's basically as if, I mean, defenses are trying to hang in there. They're doing their best, but the offenses just kind of seem to have the upper hand.
Yeah,
and
they're
that's
just really good offenses. And that's just kind of where we're at on that. Like, yeah, it's like no matter what, the NFL rules are geared toward offense. And if they're equal and going against each other, offense wins. That's just kind of how it goes, especially at this level with these quarterbacks and these receivers and everything else. NFL Blitzer, we're gonna get you squared away, man. I don't know exactly what's going on. He says not to be a Debbie Downer, but I have not gotten my email for the Bills Ravens guest that I had a couple weeks ago. So we're gonna look into that and see what we can do. And also we'll talk some Suns on the other side. You're listening to Beat the Book right here on 1580 The Fanatic.
1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic.
Live and local.
Sports bettors, we've all been there. You have a live bet lined up, you check the odds one more time, place the bet only to see the bet delayed by the spinny wheel, line move, and your bet rejected. My name's Alex Kane, and I'm the founder and CEO of SportTrade, Arizona's newest sports betting app. At the core of the SportTrade offering is our probability-based odds. In other words, the Cardinals may be offered at 55% odds to win, a lot simpler than minus 125. Place your bet at 55% odds, and as your win probability changes, so does the value of your bet, giving you the ability to cash out with total control. And the best part, no spinny wheels. Live bets on SportTrade are instantly accepted. Download SportTrade on your iPhone today and use code 1580 to earn 10% cash back on every bet in your first week. Terms apply.
SportTrade is regulated by the Arizona Department of Gaming. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time on a fancy water bottle with ultra titanium alloy metal. You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water, but you're getting it anyway. Because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Let's say you've got questions. You're looking into solar, but you don't know where to start. Well, Harmon Solar has the answers. Hi, I'm Jeffrey O'Brien, and listen, there's a couple of ways you can go here. One, visit harmonsolar.com, browse around, because right across the page, they got links to all sorts of great information like frequently asked questions, equipment, tax credits, even testimonials. Or just give them a call, 800-281-3189. Ask them directly. They'd love to hear from you. That's 800-281-3189. Or just go to harmonsolar.com.
Never again will you have to say, I missed that segment. I'm such a dinkus.
He's so lame.
Never miss an important segment, favorite host, or show again. Check out our podcast and listen whenever and wherever you want.
It's the reason Al Gore invented the internet.
Follow us on Facebook or Twitter or at 1580thefanatic.com.
So we did eventually get the numbers for the win probability contest this past weekend. NFL Blitzer, we are working on making sure you get that email because I do not know what's happened there. We haven't had that problem ever before this. So
I'm communicating with Alex right now. So just know NFL Blitzer, he's looking into it. He will be following up.
So keep an eye out and let us know how that goes. So for the championship round, we had Commanders, Eagles. The win probability was to take what the Commanders win probability was going to be at halftime. Unfortunately for literally everybody, you believed much more in the Commanders than wound up actually being realistic because everybody was over, which means that our tiebreaker is who is the closest to that number of everyone that went clean over. And that's going to be Swazman at 37%. The actual win probability, Dylan, was
12%. And keep in mind, Commanders were down 12 points at halftime. So just being on the road, kind of the sentiment of the flow of the game, everything was really just leaning towards Eagles at that point. And that is where the book Sport Trade had the win probability at that time. It was 12%. So, Swazman, congratulations. You had the closest guess since no one managed to go lower than 12% to meet the Price is Right requirement on the rules. We've done this already in the past. This is the precedent that was set. We are taking the closest guess to the actual number. So, Swazman, congratulations. You are the winner of the $100 Amazon gift card and $50 in cash sent directly to your Sport Trade account. Since you are a past winner, I have your info. I will make sure that Alex over at Sport Trade gets that so they can follow through and get you those prizes. Now, getting back to some basketball here, the Phoenix Suns were in action yesterday. They took on the LA Clippers at home. And I mean, I feel a little nervous about kind of putting this out there into existence, but perhaps maybe the Suns are kind of turning the page. Maybe things are actually starting to kind of look up with this current group of guys that we have. The final score yesterday, 111-109, Suns win. And now here they stand over their last 10 games. They have won 8 of them. And, the winning is encouraging, but at the same time, it's still, at least to me, I don't know if you feel this way, Keon, it still feels like this is not the group.
Yeah, I didn't come away watching that game with the feeling like, oh, wow, they finally figured it out. It looks like they're back on track and they understand what's going on and they understand how to play together, because that is the biggest issue, is that there's still a level of these guys just don't know how to play with each other that you still see from time to time. Like there are just times where there's like not a connection between Tyus and Book, or between Beal and Durant. And it's odd. It's just odd because they've actually been pretty healthy lately. There isn't this large chunk of time over the last couple of months where everybody hasn't played and there's, Durant missing 1 or 2 and Beal missing 1 and Booker. Like Beal's kind of been the in and out guy, and even he's played many more games this past month than he has in any of the previous months. So I don't understand why that disconnect is there, but it's visible on screen and you can see it when you watch the game.
The only other team in the Western Conference that is playing as well as the Suns have over the last 10 games, it's the Houston Rockets. They are also 8-2 in their last 10, but the Suns now currently stand at 24-21 on the season. That is good for 8th place in the Western Conference, still in that play-in group but they are now only 1.5 games outside of the 6th seed, which takes them out of the play-in. That is currently held by the LA Clippers. Then you've got the Lakers in the 5th seed at 26 and 18. Nuggets are the 4, 28 and 18. You have the Grizzlies at the 3, Rockets at the 2, and then Thunder all the way up at the top in the 1 seed. So, I very much still expect the Suns to be, scouring the trade market, doing whatever they can for hopefully Jimmy Butler or, perhaps one of these kind of alternative options that have emerged over the last couple of weeks. But let's kind of jump back over to the Jimmy Butler saga because
let's clean up the text line real quick before you move on. Baker's Cocky Hen says Saquon is Barry Sanders, right? And if you put that Honolulu blue on him and squint real hard, I don't know how you could possibly tell the difference. Latina Leprechaun says, yeah, I was thinking more of Super Bowl prop bets involving how long the national anthem will be or what color Gatorade will be dumped on the winning coach. Those fun prop bets. Or my favorite, the over-under on how many times will Fox show Taylor Swift during the game.
I don't even think those are out yet.
Yeah, but they'll show up eventually. And if you want to dip your toe in that and kind of do one of the, the sillier bets, then that's fine too. Like the only reason why I say sillier is because how could you possibly know what the Gatorade's going to be? I like things where I got enough information to guess. But do what you like. I mean, I think that's a pretty fun way to start and at least understand the mechanics of how it works. If you start with an app, just go for it. Lost Toby says my Super Bowl guess is 6.9%. You just wanted to say that because who are you even guessing on? We haven't even put that out. And then Jazz said, "Oh my gosh, I submitted 38%. Yeah, Swazman beat you by a single percent. So there that is. Now, Jimmy Butler.
So, we talked about the breaking news yesterday. Jimmy walked out of his practice. He got suspended for 5 games and it got slapped with this label of being a indefinite suspension, but that was really more because the 5 games takes Jimmy all the way through the trade deadline. So if the expectation is that he's going to be traded by the deadline, this man is no longer playing another game for the Miami Heat. It is in essence a indefinite suspension. So, when we looked at this yesterday, the immediate reaction was, oh God, he's probably going to get shipped off to the Jazz at this point. The Suns' chances of getting him, it didn't help the situation.
Yeah, and when you also look at some of the stuff that Pat Riley said to have said behind closed doors, essentially, you're not going to Phoenix. Essentially, is what the
that was one of the things that appeared on Twitter, and I wasn't sure how reputable the source was that was saying it, but there were some things coming out yesterday, basically saying the Heat are no longer looking to try and oblige Jimmy Butler in honoring his request to go to the Suns. They're just looking to get whatever deal they can get that seems to meet what, they think he's worth. But now here we are 24 hours out from all of this. And of course, everything just continues to change. Yesterday, there was no betting market anymore on DraftKings about picking Jimmy's next team. That seemed to indicate that all of this stuff is just in such a place of uncertainty that the book doesn't even want to take any risk on it. Now, here we are today. The betting market is back. The Phoenix Suns are priced as the favorite, minus 200 odds. But the change, and this is the big thing to keep in mind, is that the Golden State Warriors shot up in odds, and they are now the second most likely team to land Jimmy Butler at 5-1 odds. Then you've got the Miami Heat holding on to him at 10-1. So this is, big movement beyond the Suns being there as the favorite. But how strong the book feels about the Suns being the favorite, that seems to be wavering. Earlier this morning, the Suns were priced on DraftKings at minus 500 to land him. Now that's down to minus 200. And if this just continues to move that, the way it has for the last week or so, you really just can't look at this stuff and just assume that the Suns are going to be able to pull off a deal for him. And, you kind of think about this more, and it's really bizarre that the betting market is suggesting one thing, but the public conversation about it, the current narrative of what's going to happen, seems to be completely conflicting with this. Because right now, the sentiment on the Suns' chances of getting Jimmy Butler, it's small to none. And Brian Windhorst on ESPN, he is one of the most knowledgeable people in the world about this situation. He knows many things about it that he can't say on the air. He's even, alluded to that as well. He is someone that is very staunchly like, look, Bradley Beal will not waive the no trade clause in a way to facilitate this. The Suns truly do not have a very credible path to getting this done. But then you've got DraftKings Sportsbook over here no, the Suns are the favorite. The Suns are the favorite. And you just kind of sit back and you're just like, how is this possible? What is the missing puzzle piece in this that we don't know? And Keon and I were talking about this before the show. I mean, Windhorst has alluded to this. Shams Charania has alluded to this. There's something else that is playing out behind the scenes that has not been made public yet. And these could be conversations between the Suns and the Heat, or, between a couple other organizations that have some interest. And maybe Phoenix is kind of going down the line of assessing what everyone wants and needs, and they're trying to do things to put that together. And maybe there's a lot of momentum suggesting that those things will happen. Maybe there isn't, but it just feels like there is some unknown that's known to some select few, but it's unknown to the rest of us in the public sphere, that is driving credibility towards the Suns being able to land him. But we have no idea what this missing puzzle piece is. And I'm just trying to wrap my head around what it could be. Then the other thing here, and this is where I think there's potential for a really good discussion on this, looking at what's happened now in this trade market after Jimmy walked out of practice yesterday, could this move have been a little bit more intentional than what meets the eye? Because Jimmy, what do we know about him? He's danced this dance before. He did it with the Bulls. He did it with the Sixers. He did it with the Timberwolves. Now he's in it again with the Miami Heat. This is someone that is a lot more experienced in these kinds of scenarios than the average NBA player. Therefore, his agent is someone that is very, very experienced in trying to maneuver in this kind of a dynamic. So isn't it plausible that Jimmy and his agent kind of sat there and said, well, let's kind of game plan a little bit. If the Heat decide to do X, Y, and Z, we need to do this, this, and this. If, the Heat start to try and kind of push buttons the way you've been pushing some buttons, Jimmy Butler, and they decide, hey, we know, you can still be with the team, you can still play, but we're not going to start you anymore. What are we going to do in response? I don't think it's that crazy to think that those conversations have happened. And if you think about it under this lens and you say, well, maybe Jimmy kind of knew that this was a remote possibility and it was already a plan between him and his agent that this is how he was going to handle it. Well, how would that benefit them? Well, here's how it benefited them. There is zero conversation now about the Miami Heat holding on to Jimmy Butler despite him. That is completely thrown out the window compared to where we were yesterday. So then I kind of go back to it, and it almost looks kind of genius from Jimmy Butler's part. Does it matter to him if his trade value goes down? Does he care about that? That's Pat Riley's problem. That's not Jimmy Butler's problem. So if the Heat now have to come down in the asking price and you've got more suitors out there that want you, it significantly increases the risk that you're not going to go to that team that you want to go to. But perhaps this was all intentional. Perhaps this is Jimmy trying to kind of push back in the way that he uniquely can to facilitate an actual trade and say, no, there's no way you're going to hold on to me for another full season. Like I will challenge you on that. Yes. I think that's honestly something that a lot of people aren't considering, that maybe you start, you need to actually start considering that.
Yeah, I think that Jimmy's much more calculated here than maybe we gave him credit for initially, because a lot of it just looks like immature temper tantrum throwing. I don't want to be here anymore. I want out of here. And I think it's very easy to write him off as, well, he's just being your typical diva locker room cancer. When you look at how everything has specifically escalated, it seems like it's on purpose, and it's happening at a regular interval, essentially. Roughly the middle of the week, every week, you can pretty much count on a new development in the Jimmy Butler story. The story feels planned by Jimmy. He knows what the Heat are going to do. He reacts accordingly. And every time they try to push back on him, and to be fair, they've done this, I think, better than most of the teams he's done this with in the past. But they're still losing because Jimmy just knows how to push buttons. And, with Pat Riley, as experienced as Pat Riley is in the art of getting exactly what he wants, I think Pat Riley also wears his heart enough on his sleeve that, like, unfortunately, Jimmy's he just knows exactly where to hit to make Pat Riley just lose his mind, because he continues to do it specifically in a way that is only escalating. It never is like a neutral, like, yeah, Jimmy did a weird thing, but it didn't affect much, or, this wasn't as bad as the last thing. No, everything seems to always be worse than the last thing. Like he's doing it on purpose.
Well, and now that we have some more kind of context about how this all went down, the Heat are getting criticism today over how they informed Jimmy about the fact that he was not going to be starting. Because, the initial headline yesterday is, oh, well, he just walked out of practice. But in reality, like, Spoelstra called a huddle in practice around the entire team and singled Jimmy out and told him that he was going to be coming off the bench. And, like, look, on the surface, like, professionalism, like, yeah, I don't know, like, you shouldn't have just, like, walked out like that. But if this is like a calculated move and Jimmy's like, oh, okay, you pulled that lever, well, prepared for that. I'm gonna go ahead and take off. Bye.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really kind of the level that we're at right now in this dispute. So the way things look today, completely different than yesterday. You can expect Jimmy Butler to be traded by the deadline. There is no chance that the Miami Heat hold on to him at this point.
So there you have that. We're going to go, on the other side, here's what we're going to do. We're going to clean up the text line because we've got a few more texts to read. Then we're going to go big game hunting with a long shot parlay of the day, taking some swings today that I think are very creative and look quite fun. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. This is Beat the Book right here on 1580 The Fanatic.
1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic.
Live and local.
Make extra money daily from your sports betting? Dylan Cohen from Beat the Book here. I'm always about finding ways to take sports betting to the next level. And that's exactly why I'm pumped to tell you about Edge Boost, the financial platform that pays you cash back to wager. Edge Boost is an online bank account that pays you for every deposit. With the Edge Boost Visa debit card, you're getting up to 0.5% cash back on all of your sportsbook, daily fantasy site, and casino transactions. That's free money back in your pocket just for doing what you're already doing. It's a no-brainer. Plus, your Edge Boost debit card starts with a $250,000 daily limit, and it will never be declined for gambling activity. They've got built-in tools to help you stay responsible, and there's absolutely no hidden fees or minimum required balances. So stop leaving money on the table. Visit edgeboost.bet to learn more and sign up today. That's edgeboost.bet. Once again, edgeboost.bet.
Hungry for something exciting? Then come experience what's new at Kasai Japanese Steakhouse with 2 Valley locations. No one does Asian-inspired cuisine better or more authentic than Kasai, where talented Teppanyaki chefs create the food, the fire, and the fun of teppanyaki. Kasai Japanese Steakhouse, it isn't just dinner, it's dinnertainment. A memorable dining experience where a delicious 7-course meal is prepared right at your table with flair. It's the perfect choice for celebrations, date nights, or a night on the town. Choose from over 30 different items and combinations of teppanyaki, Asian fusion, and innovative sushi. Happy hour is always on fire with their daily specials. Try their new $12 bar menu items, Wagyu beef and Mongolian pork sliders, chicken or beef satay, and 3 delicious flavors of chicken karaage. 2025 is on fire at Kasai with 2 locations, Scottsdale Road and Thunderbird, and now open in Peoria at the 101 in Northern. Go to KasaiTeppen.com. That's KASAI Teppen.com or search Kasai on your mobile phone.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelfie?
Just send them a text.
Text CARE to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text CARE to 200-300 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text CARE to 200-300. That's CARE to 200-300. CARE to 200-300.
Now, you can be the guy that eventually gets bits and pieces of the latest news. Or you can get the whole story when it breaks. The NFL is always in season here.
That's how we do it.
Follow us on Facebook or Twitter. Or at 1580thefanatic.com.
All right, let's get to the text line really quickly because I want to give Dylan some time to lay out the long shot parlay of the day. Swazman says, thanks for the prize from Sport Trade, the probability contest. I picked 37 because that was my number in football. I tried to model my game after Lester the Molester Hayes, number 37, back when the word molester just meant that you were annoying. It was a different time. T-Licious says, why is KD running away from the ball in the last minute last night, especially when I needed 2 more damn points from him on my parlay? Son of a bitch! So, sorry, T-Licious. I don't know what to make of that. And then Baker's Cocky Hen says, Jimmy is a genius, and he is willing to do literally whatever it takes to accomplish his goals. He can show you what vindictive means. Reminds me of an ex-girlfriend I had. They should not get together. That seems toxic. So anyway, long shot parlay of the day.
So here's today's long shot parlay of the day. If you haven't checked out the Beat the Book site already, make sure you do. That's where you'll see the 10 bets for today, as well as this long shot that I am going to get into here. This is a 4-leg parlay. It pays a little bit over 101-1 odds. Now, I built this on Fanatics Sportsbook earlier this morning. And again, Fanatics is a great book to leverage for the NBA player props because they do give you flexibility that most of the other books don't give you when it comes to choosing a certain amount of a certain prop for a specific player. FanDuel probably has the alternative points, rebounds, assists available now. Those typically don't come out until closer to game time. So this could be worth trying to build on FanDuel. You might be able to get better odds over there. But at the very least, this was paying a little bit over 101-1 this morning on Fanatics Sportsbook. We need Amen Thompson on the Houston Rockets to get 23 or more points tonight. We need Anthony Davis to score 32 or more points. We're counting on Donovan Clingan on the Portland Trailblazers to grab 11 or more rebounds. And then we are also hoping for a Golden State Warriors blowout. We are taking them to cover an alternate spread of minus 19.5 against the Utah Jazz. So starting off with Amen Thompson, we touched base on this in the first segment. Amen Thompson is currently playing the best basketball of his entire life. On the season, he averages just under 14 points per game, but in the month of January, that average is shot up to over 19 points per game. He's coming off of his best performance as a professional athlete last night against the Boston Celtics, where he scored the 33 points on 68% field goal shooting, including the game-winning bucket for the Rockets to seal the upset victory in Boston. So count on Amen Thompson to have another big game tonight. And it certainly helps that he's taking on the 4th worst defense in the NBA with the Atlanta Hawks. Count on Amen Thompson to score. Anthony Davis for 32 or more points. Davis is also coming off of his best game of the season after the Lakers demolished the Hornets last night. Anthony Davis had 42 points, 23 rebounds in that Lakers win. They are taking on the Sixers today in Philadelphia. It is the second night of a back-to-back, but the key with this pick is just with what's going on with the Sixers right now. They are dealing with a number of injuries, mainly to their front court. They will be without Andre Drummond and Joel Embiid in this game. The Sixers just simply do not have any available players that will be able to effectively counter Davis in the paint, with both of their 7-footers being out of this game. It's kind of a similar issue to what the Hornets faced last night, although the Hornets did have their actual centers in the game, and it did make a difference. So look for Anthony Davis to have his way again in the paint against the Sixers. Donovan Clingan for 11 or more rebounds. If you didn't know this, Donovan Clingan is a rebounding machine, and he is the eventual franchise starting center for the Portland Trailblazers. He's going to be taking on the Milwaukee Bucks at home tonight. The Bucks are playing on the second night of a back-to-back. They played the Jazz last night in Utah. Now, this leg is going to pretty largely depend on what kind of playing time Clingan is going to get tonight. Normally, starting center for Portland Trailblazers, DeAndre Ayton, he would be starting, but he's currently questionable to play. He's missed his last 3 games. He could be out tonight. That will give this leg a significant boost. But even if Ayton does play, Donovan Clingan, very capable of getting the 11 or more rebounds. He's actually had 10 or more rebounds in 4 out of his last 5 games while playing an average of only 22 minutes per game. So if Donovan Clingan can get maybe 23, 24 minutes or more, he'll certainly get more if he ends up starting. You can count on him for those 11 rebounds. And then the final leg here, Golden State Warriors to defeat the Utah Jazz by 20 or more points. The Jazz are on the second night of a back-to-back. They just took on the Bucks at home last night. They got crushed, and they had to go on an overnight flight to San Francisco. And they're going to be tired for this game. They were without Walker Kessler and John Collins yesterday. Those two may be out of this game tonight. Even if they play, this is still going to be a very difficult team to face on that second night of a back-to-back. The Warriors already played the Jazz once this season. They won by 41 points. That game was back in October. And they had such a big margin of victory there because as a team, they were shooting insane from 3-point range. They made 23s that game. That's actually a mark that the Warriors as a team have been hitting over their last 3 games. They have been shooting really well. So if they can make another 20 or more threes as a team today, it's going to put them in a great spot to cover that 19.5-point alternate spread. That is the long shot parlay. And that's all I got, Keon.
And that's going to do it for us. By the way, we've got the other bets on the Beat the Book website. If you go to beatthebook.1580thefanatic.com, or you could just go to the 1580 The Fanatic website, click on the Beat the Book logo, and it'll take you to the post of the day where Dylan has been keeping track of all kinds of things. Yesterday's result, we give you other bets to consider. You can maybe mix and match those, bet those straight up. I know I've done that with a number of those. I like the Trae Young 10+ assists tonight. I also like that Michigan Spartans minus 12.5 spread. So that'll do it for us. Daily Blender is coming up next.